Hello, how are you doing? My name is Otto and I hope you're having an amazing day. So here I have the DJI RS3 Mini and this other one is the Hohem iSteady MT2. These are two excellent medium-sized gimbals that will support compact cameras and also action cameras and smartphones. So I want to compare both of them in this non-sponsored video so you can get a better idea of which one is the best option for you. The build quality on both gimbals is very good and they have a good feel when you're using them. The MT2 seems to have more space for your hand, where the handle on the RS3 Mini is a bit too tight. I like how these two gimbals look like, but I prefer the more attractive color design and details that the MT2 has. Although I have to admit that the RS3 is built like a tank, so even though they have a similar size, it is heavier at 975 grams, while the MT2 has a weight of 835 grams. The tripod that they have are quite similar in size and weight, but the one from DJI seems to be more rigid. The real difference between these gimbals is how much weight they can support. The iSteady MT2 has a maximum payload of 1.2 kilos or 2.65 pounds, which is not bad. I was able to use cameras like the Sony ZV-E10 and the A7 IV with multiple lenses, including this Sony 35mm GM lens that has a weight of 525 grams. But it will not support a big lens like the Sony 24-105mm. DJI has a maximum payload of 2 kilos or 4.4 pounds, so it will support a heavier setup than the MT2. I was even able to use the 24-105mm lens at 24mm and fully extended at 105mm. You can change the orientation from horizontal to a vertical position with these two gimbals, and the process is not really too complicated, but there is a chance that you will need to do a bit of rebalancing before you can use them. Something interesting is that with the MT2, you can flip the camera screen like this, which is useful if you're using selfie mode, for example. As I mentioned before, you can use a smartphone with either gimbal, but with the DJI RS3 Mini, you can use the Mimo app, so you will not be able to use any of the features that you normally have when using a DJI smartphone gimbal. So the only option that you will have is to rely on your phone's native camera app. With the MT2, you can use the Hohem app that is meant to be used with smartphones, which is going to let you use time lapses, dolly zoom, panorama shots, templates, and other features like this lever to zoom in and out. And with this wheel on the left side, you will be able to use manual focus no matter if you're using an iPhone or an Android device. In my opinion, it's a good thing to have a choice to use either the native camera app or the Hohem app. Both gimbals have a quick release plate to mount your camera, and both of them are Arca Swiss compatible. However, Hohem thought about smartphone users, so the MT2 comes with this phone holder that has a built-in Arca Swiss base, so it's easier and faster to set up the gimbal or to use the phone holder on a tripod. It also has a few expansion ports and a cold shoe mount at the top if you need it. If you want to use your smartphone with the RS3 Mini, you will have to buy the phone holder by yourself. And now that I think about it, DJI doesn't really give you too much when you buy their gimbal. The MT2, on the other hand, it came with this cool carrying case with multiple compartments, multiple cables to connect the gimbal to your device, and even this GoPro mount. But perhaps one of the biggest selling points for the iSteady MT2 is this tiny device, which is a fill light, but it's also a tracking sensor that will let you track a person. And the cool thing about it is that you can do that with any device that you're using on the gimbal. So you can use your camera, your smartphone, a GoPro, it doesn't really matter. And this tracking sensor doesn't need any cables. It doesn't need an app or Bluetooth or any kind of connections at all. You can even have your camera off and this will keep tracking you if it's on. To activate the sensor, all you have to do is this gesture and it will start tracking you, and to make it stop tracking, you just have to show your palm like this. And you can also reframe the tracking composition by doing this gesture. The tracking itself is amazing, not perfect, but it is consistent and it works even in lower light situations. The maximum tracking range is about 9 meters and the sensor can keep tracking you 360 degrees and beyond. The RS3 Mini will not be able to track a person and it doesn't have a light either. I feel that not a lot of people are interested in a field light, but it is something nice to have. And the one on the MT2 is bright enough if you need some extra light and your subject is not too far away. The light is dimmable and you can change the color temperature, and this field light can be used in RGB mode, and this means that you can select any color that you want to make your videos a bit more creative. The battery life seems to be longer on the iSteady MT2, which will run for a maximum of 17 hours. This gimbal can be used to charge your camera, smartphone, or action camera by using this USB-C port. The battery on the RS3 Mini will run for about 10 hours, and you cannot use this gimbal to charge your devices. But both gimbals can be charged with a power bank and use them at the same time if you need to. The iSteady MT2 has one expansion port on the side and one at the top of the gimbal. They are both 1/4 inch thread holes. The RS3 Mini also has an expansion port on the left side, but instead of a 1/4 inch thread hole, it has a NATO port where you can attach different accessories. The one that I like the most is this extension to use the gimbal in a horizontal position, but you can also use this as a second handle. NATO accessories are still a little bit limited, so if you need a 1/4 inch thread hole, you can buy an adapter like this one for about $20. Both gimbals have a USB-C port that lets you connect the gimbal to your camera. The iSteady MT2 will let you use the shutter button, and I was able to use the zoom slider with my Sony camera. The RS3 Mini will also let you do that, but it will also let you use this dial with a custom setting that you prefer. You can select to use the focus, the zoom, or change the ISO, the aperture, or the shutter speed. You can also connect the RS3 Mini to the camera via Bluetooth to control those settings, but I found that it drains the battery on the camera a bit faster. Without any kind of connection, the dial can be used to control the roll, the pan, or the tilt, and you can do the same with the MT2 using the wheel on the side, but this is limited to the roll axis. I'm crossing my fingers that Hohem will update the MT2 so we can customize this wheel soon. Both gimbals have a trigger that will let you recenter the gimbal or rotate the camera 180 degrees if you want to go into selfie mode. You can select between the different gimbal modes, which are pan follow, pan and tilt follow, lock mode, and POV mode. Spin shots or inception mode is also available, and it will make the camera spin around to make videos like this. Both gimbals can rotate 360 degrees or more. The MT2 will spin clockwise by itself, and the RS3 Mini can spin either way, and it can be done manually by pushing the joystick, or it can be done in automatic mode. You can also use sport mode, and this will make the gimbal react faster to your movements. And underslung mode or low angle shots are possible by flipping the gimbal upside down. The iSteady MT2 has these A and B buttons, and they will let you set the gimbal to 2 different positions. This will make the gimbal move from point A to B or from point B to A, and you can set the duration of the movement to 1, 5, 15, 30, or 60 minutes. The app on both gimbals have a few interesting features. For example, it will let you use a remote joystick, or you can use the phone as a motion controller. You can customize the speed and which axis you want to control, and inside the app, you can also customize different features and settings for either gimbal. Both gimbals have a screen where you can see the information for each gimbal. The MT2 will show you the gimbal mode that you're using, details about the field light, battery life indicator, Bluetooth, and connection status. The screen on the RS3 Mini is bigger and it is touch-enabled, so it's easier to change different settings or do multiple tasks without the need to use the app. That means that you can start the calibration process or change the joystick speed or the gimbal speed directly on the gimbal. Now, in terms of stabilization, these two brands did a good job and I had no issues when I was testing or using them. In the background, you're looking at some clips that were done with the A7 IV and other ones that were made with the iPhone 13. The gimbals do react a bit different to my movements when I use them, but this is normal between different devices. So choosing one gimbal or the other will depend on your needs and what you value the most. If you need to use anything heavier than 1.2 kilos, the DJI RS3 Mini is the way to go. Below that weight, both options are going to be great, but the iSteady MT2 has a tracking sensor, and if you're going to use your smartphone, you will get far more options than with the DJI RS3 Mini. The links to these gimbals are going to be down below in the description. If you use them, you're going to be supporting this channel. And maybe by the end of the year, I'll get a cookie from DJI or Hohem. Don't forget to like this video, please. I hope you're having an amazing day and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye.